Welcome to Molsports TV and the Molsports Podcast. I'm sitting here with Coach Tank. Coach Tank is an assistant coach at Roosevelt University. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm good, man. Glad to be on. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited to have you on. I heard some great stuff about you from former players and current players that are currently that you're coaching today. I have a lot of questions to ask you. My first question would have to be, what led you into coaching? Like, what made you become a coach?
It's weird. So, um, graduating high school, I graduated in 2004 from Hubbard High School.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school. So, I was fortunate to have two coaches in high school that were pretty they guided me a lot. So, I had gotten myself into a situation um, graduating high school. I didn't graduate on time, and I had to go back for summer school. So
Mm-hmm.
my coach Kelvin Holiday presented me with an opportunity, one to put some money in my pocket, two to stay out of trouble. So he gave me the freshman team job at Hubbard High School. So probably coached maybe I'd say 4 or 5 games. My first tournament was actually at Von Steuben High School, and it was short lived because he ended up being fired. So when he got fired,
Wow.
they clean house. After that, I realized that I probably should go to school. So I decided to enroll at Fort Scott Community College, located in Fort Scott, Kansas,
Mm-hmm.
and I hated it. It was a culture shock, and I decided to come back home. And I mean, I knew I wanted to be involved in basketball. I just didn't know what avenues I wanted to be involved in. But I knew at an early age, I knew I wanted to help like the youth a lot
Mm-hmm.
because I was misguided, and I knew a lot of the youth needed somebody, with a level head or that that can relate and help them out. So that was what got me on the path to coaching.
Your first game as a coach, a lot of coaches they have their own experience. Like, were you nervous? Were you excited? What was it like being out there coaching a lot of guys, practice, game wise? What would you say the experience was like?
Um, I wouldn't say I was nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more so excited. Um, just knowing like how basketball was presented to me and the coaches I had, I felt that I was prepared for it, so it didn't bother me as much. But if I had to say, it was the feeling was definitely excitement.
Well, that's great to hear. Speaking with Joshua and Ayo, being former player that you coached, they talked about your role at Roosevelt. Can you explain the day-to-day life of what goes on, what you do at Roosevelt, how you get players ready, game day, practice wise, and how is it, being a collegiate coach?
First of all, I never had dreams of being a college basketball coach.
Mm-hmm.
I got thrown into it. I wouldn't say thrown into it. The opportunity presented itself. I was an assistant at Robert Morris for 3 years, and then I transformed over to Roosevelt. But day to day, um, I like to develop, and I'm quite sure Io and Josh probably told you that too. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm more so the coach that gets you ready for game. Um, I love to work out and get kids prepared. So day to day, um, mainly is just coming in, getting the guys riled up. Probably pulling one or two to the side, um, getting them prepared. Taking some shots with them, probably working on some ball handling, and just getting them ready. For Coach Griffin in practice.
Yeah, what should we expect from you guys this year? Because I'm excited. The season. This is the first game this week, right?
Yeah, it's Saturday
Yeah,
versus
this
I.
Saturday. Yeah. Yeah, so what,
Uh,
what should we expect from you guys, like talent wise?
I think we're loaded. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we are actually running a new system, so this system actually helps guys like Io a lot. Io is probably one of the best downhill players on the NAIA level that I've seen. His game has really it's come a long way. Io looks really good this year. As he
Mm-hmm.
probably has been bragging to you, telling you how good he looked. But I can attest to it. He looks good. But pound for pound, we probably have some of the best talent in our league. We play in the CCAC, which is the biggest NAIA conference in the country. So I would say pound for pound, we have the best talent now. How those guys put it together in jail is going to be a different story. I think the offense that we have is probably one of the best in college basketball. As it's kind of mocked after another program, I won't say who, but it's tailor made for our team. So if the guys follow the blueprint and they get on this train and play defense, I think the sky's the limit for us this year.
Yeah, I'm excited. I saw the video with Ayo going transitions for a dunk, and I was just like, wow, like, another question would have to be, what are your future plans? What do you want to gain from coaching? Like, what do you see yourself in the next couple of years on coaching? Do you expect to stay at Roosevelt, or do you expect to get a higher coaching role at somewhere else?
So, like I said earlier, I had no dreams of I had no aspirations of being a college basketball coach. Me personally, I would rather be on the lower levels to develop. Before I came to Robert Morris, I was in the process of starting a post-grad prep school, which kind of fell through. So my goal is, once I'm done at Roosevelt, I don't think I'm going to any other college. I want to start that. My goal is to start a prep school. Again, I like to teach, like the lower levels. I want to help rejuvenate HBCUs mainly. So me going back to that level is pretty much for me to teach, young African Americans or minorities that there are other schools besides the Dukes, the Carolinas, the Kentuckys. I want to educate them on, the importance of going back into, and rejuvenating and putting that money and everything else into HBCUs, because let's be real, HBCUs are definitely lacking in that area where, most nights, they don't even know if they're gonna have trainers. So I think when you start, developing like big time prospects and they have the mindset of going back to rejuvenate HBCUs, it helps. I just read a quote a little while ago from Mikey Williams, who's probably one of the top high school basketball players in the country.
Facts,
and he talked about, his list consisted of maybe 8 or 9 HBCUs. Now, that kid actually goes as major, but I want to continue to create that narrative where our kids are going back to our schools. So after I'm done with Roosevelt, I don't plan to be a college basketball coach unless it's at an HBCU. If it's not at an HBCU, I plan to move forward with starting my postgraduate prep, and hopefully, that turns into a national prep.
Growing up in Chicago, in your era, you said you played basketball, right, in high school?
Yeah.
Growing up in your era, how was it like? How was basketball like during that times?
The game has changed. So I think we were introduced to YouTube in the year of 2004. I'm not sure. It could have been sooner.
Yeah, it could be around that 2004, 2005, 6,
okay.
7, yeah.
Yep. So when I was playing, we didn't have any YouTube. So you really had to put in the work to get seen. And I played on a Hubbard basketball team that consisted of 3 All-Staters, could have been 4, but one of the All-Staters was Otheus Jeffers. He played in the NBA for a couple of years.
Oh yeah, he played for the Charlotte Bobcats, right?
He played for the Jazz. He played for the Spurs for a while. He played for the Timberwolves, and he had a stint in Phoenix.
So that name sounds familiar to me.
Yeah. So back then it was a lot different. Again, you really had to put in work to get noticed. So I would say times have definitely changed dramatically. These kids today are kind of spoiled to me because we had to work for everything, man. It was rough.
Yeah, now we have Instagram. Anybody can get noticed anywhere now. Like back then, it was like no outlet to get noticed. if you can give any advice to any athletes out there that looking to get into coaching, some guys would be like, oh, when I'm done with basketball, I'd like to be a coach. What is any advice you'd like to give out?
I would say dig into it as much as you possibly can. What you think you might want to do is probably not what you want to do. So if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have shadowed a lot of the coaches that are in the game now. I would say, like I said, just dig into it. There are, certain aspects of this game that, most can't handle. It's very political, so take every step, like exhaust every option, go through school, figure out what it is that you actually want to do. If coaching is definitely a passion of yours, pursue it. If it's not a passion, because there's not much money in it, if it's not a passion, I mean, you probably should move on, because if you're going into it for those reasons, those are definitely all the wrong reasons. So again, just dig into it, figure out if this is exactly the path you want to take, and just go wherever the chips may fall.
And any advice you like to give me? I'm running a sports company, helping athletes out, just like Ayo, like train them, give them the better outlet for them to succeed, just not on the court, but off the court. Any advice out there, because you with them every day, like you like to give me to put into mine and just continue to get better.
I would say just stay 100, man. Like, stay honest. I don't know if they told you too, before I did this too, like I managed a couple like athletes, like I helped a couple guys get overseas. I did some training. A part of the main thing I would say is definitely staying honest. If these are going to be your clients, and, this is their livelihood, you got to be 100 with them. If you don't see certain things working out for them, then yeah, you tell them that, not to be a dream killer, but you got to like right up front. So I think, you starting this and doing this is actually like pretty cool, because, guys that are like young in age right now, they don't have any direction. That's why I wanted to jump on this podcast, because I mean, just helping a positive Black male, it's probably the best thing in the world.
Much.
So I was very excited about joining this podcast. I reached out to Josh. I'm like, man, tell him I do it. Like I want to help as much as I possibly can. So with that being said, stay genuine. Like, be the guy that you are. Never compromise yourself for anything, whether it's money, clout, whatever. Never compromise that. Just stay, the guy that you are. I mean, just talking to those two guys, they told me how cool of a guy you was. That was another reason why I wanted to do it. So just stay who you are. Never compromise yourself for anything or anybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And last thing before we head out, any advice you'd like to give to any young athletes looking to play collegiate basketball? Everybody has D1 dreams, and some may end up D2, D3. Any advice you'd like to give them, like the real world advice?
Pay attention, whether it's to your biddy ball coaches up into your high school coaches, and get as many, parents involved as you possibly can. I'm a coach, so I gotta say this. There are some coaches out here that's full of it, man. So, and I think that those coaches, they take advantage of kids so much. So my advice to most kids: find an adult that you trust, talk to that adult, have him, educate himself on recruiting in college basketball. Mainly, my main advice would be to exhaust all options. I love that phrase, because there's so many other options. Most kids have the dreams of playing at the big time Division I schools and the D2 schools. NAI is definitely an option. If you have to go the JUCO route, that doesn't make you any less of a player. Like, JUCO is, everybody thinks JUCO is for kids that have, like destroyed themselves academically. It's actually not. JUCO is another outlet to get you out there. It's like playing another 2 years of AAU basketball, in my opinion. Exhaust those options. Some of these small schools are actually a better fit for most kids. Like there are a bunch of pro players that come through the NAIA circuit. I just mentioned one, Otheus Jeffers. He was a guy that played at Robert Morris for a year, played 3 years at UIC. Going to Robert Morris probably was the best thing, to help him further his career. Scottie Pippen.
Didn't he coach at Robert Morris?
Yes, he did. And I
Oh
was
yeah, I
yeah.
remember now. I remember now. That
So
name sounds familiar.
Scottie Pippen was another one. Ben Wallace, the Dennis Rodman, the list goes on. So exhaust all options would be my advice to most kids.
Yeah, because a lot of people think what school you go to determine whether you go to the NBA, but it just matter how you play. If you're the hardest worker, they're gonna notice you. Like so many guys come from big schools and go to the league, and boom, their stock goes down. And that's a great advice. I like to share that with some of the athletes that we work with, because we have some in JUCO, D1, D2, D3. Coach Tank, it meant a lot listening to you. I learned a lot, from coaching, trying to see what the day-to-day world you guys go through. Because sometimes I tell myself, what is this coach doing? What is this coach thinking? So now I can see now, like, the experience is like, thank you so much. It meant a lot. And I'm excited to see what you guys do Saturday. I'll be tuned in. And good luck this season.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, man.
No
Any
problem.
other time you want me to jump on, man, I'll gladly do it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's all good, but appreciate you, man. Keep doing your thing. Just keep it going, man. This is great, man.
Thank you so much, sir.
Know you that well, but I'm proud of you for doing this.
Thank you. I'm just trying to help as much athletes out, because I also play basketball, and something happened along the way that prevented me to continue to play. But I wanted to stay involved. I was cool with a lot of guys that play basketball and being close friends with them. So I started this, let me be that person that can help them out, be that positive change for them. And it's going great so far. And I've met so many people along the way that I can network around and to help those guys out. And I'm excited to see what the future holds for all of us.
Yeah, most people don't know, there are other aspects of going pro with the game of basketball. I mean, what you're doing right now, Stephen A. and a lot of them guys get paid big bucks to do this. So, and training and doing everything. So there are a lot of different avenues of basketball, which is probably why this game has saved so many lives.
Yeah, yes. Well, but thank you, Coach Tank. Have a blessed day, and thank you so much.
Likewise, man.
Yeah.